Hello, my name is Amy Lemire. I am the president and CEO of AIM Training and Consulting. And what do? I work with leaders and teams who want to sell more of themselves, their products, and their services with confidence and be the best version of themselves. I got started doing this work, it's crazy to say, over 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I took my first sales job and I was in teleselling. I actually sold over the phone way back in the day when flip phones and pagers first came out. I would take phone calls and I would sign people up for service plans. Eventually, my big dream was to get into outside sales. I moved into direct sales. I worked into business-to-business sales and payroll, and then I eventually moved into medical sales, and I spent most of my career there. One of the things I loved about that role was that I got the opportunity to be a sales field trainer. So I got to go mentor and work with new sales hires in the field in addition to doing my sales job. But I noticed really quickly that I had a knack for teaching and training people, and eventually the training manager retired and I took her position. And I continued to take a corporate sales training role for 4 different companies, and then I eventually decided to just go out on my own and be an independent company. The problem I think I solve is I call it sales confidence. And in my philosophy and in my opinion, from all those years I spent in sales and sales training, I think a lot of companies take their time teaching their reps the product, the sales process, they teach them the competition, how to handle negotiations and objections. But the one thing that they forget to teach is what I call the inner game of selling. So this is everything from self-confidence, it's also resilience, it's self-discipline, it's about how to better work with people, and I call all 6 of these habits the sales confidence code. I think what I want people to know about me is that I struggled most of my life with self-confidence. And I will be telling my story a little bit later today at an event, but I'll just tell you the quick story. But I was in a near-death experience when I was 9 years old. I was almost killed by a drunk driver. And from that experience, I had zero confidence. And what I learned over the years through self-development and going to workshops and seminars and investing in myself, I learned that you can learn confidence as a skill. And so from that, all those experiences, what I decided to do is make a decision to be the best version of myself. And that's what I call my secret sauce. I think the biggest challenge I see in this industry right now, post-pandemic, is sales burnout is on the high end of the spectrum at this moment. I have done a lot of research with companies like Gartner, and what they're saying is that today 89% of all sales professionals say that they're burned out. And the reason they're burned out is they feel like their management team doesn't understand them. They feel like there's no development opportunities. But the last, and which is where I come in, is there's also a lack of long-term training and professional development opportunities. So the challenge that this creates is there's a whole phenomenon today called seller drag. Seller drag means our sales teams throughout the US are not motivated, they're burned out, they're checked out. And the problem this is causing for sales management teams is they're seeing a all-time high turnover rate right now in most sales teams. And the crazy part about that is that anytime you lose a sales professional, it costs a company about $300,000. So they lose the money they put into the investment of training, they lose the potential revenue they could have brought in for that sales professional, and not to mention the extra burden it puts on the sales leadership team. So that is something that I try to focus on as I work with the new hires when they're starting their journey at the company. In addition to the sales training process and the sales steps of the process, the first thing we work on is what I call the sales confidence code. And the secrets of sales success, again, are 6 key habits that I talk about. A big trend I see in our industry right now is, I will be upfront and transparent, that there's a lot of companies that offer sales training and consulting. And one of the biggest mistakes I see most companies make is they spend a lot of money and they have a big company come in and do sales training. And what typically happens, and I have a lot of friends in the industry, so I've heard it directly from them. This isn't just me saying it, but what they've said is that sometimes companies come in and they do like 1 or they do 2 days of sales training, and they expect the teams to go out there and hit the ground running with it. And what they find out is that the training is actually just this nice event, and the management team feels like they've wasted their time, they wasted the money, and they didn't really get the ROI on the investment. So what my recommendation is to any sales leader, vice president, director of sales, is that if you want your team to be trained the right way, it's about a 18-month journey. It's not just a one and done, one-time sales training and everybody goes out and sells. It takes reinforcement, it takes practice, it takes coaching, and it takes additional training along the journey. So that's what I like to see is different in what I do versus a lot of what other companies are offering right now. If you'd like to get in touch with me and understand how we can support your organization to drive sales excellence, please contact me, Amy Lemire, at www.aimtandc.com. Thank you.